almost done with the town styrofoam drawing. The part of the reason why it's taken so long to get as far as I have on it is because at times I end up having to think about exactly what I want to do with it. Plus, again, this piece of styrofoam is a bit flaky at times, and styrofoam naturally has considerable amounts of air holes. These air pockets can result in depressions that can't be filled in with Sharpie marker. I'm planning on putting the engraving or the date down to the nearest minute of when I finish this piece on the back of this building in order to play it off as some bizarre graffiti. Essentially, that's the idea. Here are some of the Sharpie markers I've been using to complete this styrofoam drawing. I had to use ultrafine Sharpie markers in order to make this dry fruit text. This is meant to be a food bag. Stairs next in between two AC units. Various plants in a handful of the windows. Trees, distant clouds, a car, leaves. Today I woke up at around 11 in the morning. I think there was a point in which I got up around 10. In the morning, but then I fell back asleep for about an hour before then getting back up. Around noon, I had some granola cereal with milk. From appearances, it seems to be the apple and almond kind Dad and I bought at Aldi's the other day. I've spent most of today, a majority working on that town styrofoam drawing. I did the dark gray color rather than black, even though in my opinion I think the dark gray doesn't look as good as black because dark gray is more realistic. I believe I started building this academy. It was at the latest before Dan and I left around 2:30 p.m. It was around 2:15 p.m. Dan and I left the apartment unit so we could do some driving practice. At first, it was counterclockwise laps followed by clockwise laps followed by more counterclockwise laps around the high school parking lot, which I did very good with. Though, if I recall, I had more trouble with the clockwise laps because they're insides and thus the turns are tighter and you have to make them quicker. With my fellowship in Elvenar, there's talk of me being paired up KB, which means knowledge point, with someone else within the fellowship. Alright, here's the next goal. This right here. It was today that the Flying Academy finished construction. At some point I got the last broken shard. I needed to forge the last rune for the rune wheel here. I got it from this Ferris wheel galore building. And then having earlier did some rearrangements to make space for it, I put the Flying Academy here. It's still a little over a day before the next episodic event starts. And when it does, I'll be ready for it. After doing laps at the parking lot, we did some driving on live roads on Dad's mail route. I did pretty good with what we usually do. They can best be described as counterclockwise laps, although it's a bit more nuanced than straight laps, since I'm no longer was no longer in a parking lot at that point. I did pretty good, so for some extra challenge practice, we decided to do what could be described as clockwise laps on Dad's route, mail route. By taking a different route. this new route is a little more challenging, but not too much, because there's a point in which it has two intersections pretty close together. A point with a turn going uphill, and then a point with a turn going downhill, followed immediately thereafter. When going uphill, you will naturally ease into a brake. That is, you'll naturally slow down, and when going downhill, you'll naturally speed up. So you have to apply more pressure to the brake pedal in order to maintain speed. There was a point in which I nearly forgot to stop at an intersection. And then there was a point in which I got spooked by a car stopping at a side street. Most likely due to confusion from the intersections. Aside from that, though, I did pretty good for my first time on a new route with tighter turns. There were points in which I took the turn a little tight, and points in which I took the turns a little wide. But again, overall, I did good for my first time. After the driving practice, I think it was 3 p.m. at this point. Dad and I went to his parents' place where Dad talked with his parents. I showed them a picture of the Easter holiday wreath, as well as the man with the patterned shirt and jacket I finished the other day. At one point I had to shamefully say that I hadn't thrown out any of the old markers. And in a way, it's tempting to use the newest markers. I've got to devise something to test markers on, and then sort the markers from fresh enough to be usable and those that are too dried out. That's what I've got to do tomorrow. The coffee I started having around noon with the granola cereal. I didn't really finish it until about, I would say, 5 p.m. It was around 4:30 p.m. when Dan and I got back from our driving practice. And visit of his parents, Dad's mom, gave us some cookies. In total, we had one each of 2 different cookies, one of which was, I'm pretty sure it's a Piltridge Farms classic. I think it's called a Manilo cookie by that brand. Here's where things are now in my city in Elvenar. And I haven't yet unlocked the next set of Ancient Wonders. I have no idea how big they're going to be, but it's currently 9:21 p.m. Now, this is a Heath Klondike bar.